Tonight at 11, there is more concern about cuts in federal funding. Governor Lamont says Connecticut is losing about $200 million in emergency funding for natural disasters. Your chief political reporter, Susan Raff, shows us how towns devastated by flooding last summer really depend on that money.
Federal funding is critical. Towns like Seymour lost a lot in the flooding last summer, close to $1 million in damage. And that money helps them rebuild.
This was the Naugatuck Valley last August, much of it underwater after more than 15 inches of rain fell in a short period of time.
Yep, we've had some natural disasters, but this is the worst that we've seen in a long time.
Seymour's fire chief says the damage left behind was not just unprecedented, but costly. Roads, bridges, and homes were all destroyed. Federal funding will take care of 75% of the total damages, which is $1 million. The town of Seymour will have to come up with the rest, about $250,000.
We've got to be ready because these cuts will be coming. I can't stick my head in the sand. I can't say, oh, it hasn't happened yet, so why worry about it? We're not an ostrich. We're going to be prepared.
Governor Lamont says on top of federal cuts to public health and education, Connecticut is losing funding for emergency response to deal with natural disasters. Lamont says because of all the uncertainty in Washington, he wants to have regular meetings with agencies in charge of critical services and give updates on what's happening and how Connecticut can prepare.
I know that the Connecticut model of cooperation and mutual aid in this state works, and it works well. But I also know that we now have to start thinking differently.
Differently might mean using more state money to improve infrastructure to prevent massive damage. Chief Edwards says Seymour is doing a project like that now.
We have one I'm working on now to take the Little River, the stream banks, stuff like that, and we're going to secure them, we're going to make them higher and stuff like that, but that's a process.
That federal emergency money isn't only useful after a natural disaster, but before. Cities and towns apply for grants so that they can try to prevent massive damage when there is a natural disaster. But with that said, losing millions of dollars in federal funding will put a huge burden on the state and cities and towns. In Seymour, Susan Raff, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.